And Wilco is on tour with his own band right now. Now, seeing into the future is the stuff of science fiction. Wouldn't it be great if we could see into the future? Well, Alex Dolan is in Suffolk to offer us a glimpse, courtesy of the man who makes his living predicting what technology we can expect to see next.
I'm in the middle of the Suffolk countryside, but on this mobile phone I can get the internet, I can get music and video on demand. It's become part of everyday life. But do you remember when computers looked like this? When the internet was called the information superhighway, Google was just a dream and Facebook wasn't even thought of. It's not as long ago as you might think. The year 1996. In that year, we looked at how the region was leading technology changes. From their base in Suffolk, BT were trialling new interactive services. For the first time, customers were discovering the ups and downs of movies, banking and shopping on demand. BT's head of research predicted things would go much further than that.
I think the thing to remember is that this is not just television programmes and films on demand. How about a school teacher on demand? How about an advisor, a scientist, an engineer, a librarian on demand? Ultimately, it's everything on demand.
Peter Cochrane has since left BT and now makes a living as a futurologist. He's invited me to his home near Ipswich to find out what the future might hold and whether his predictions have come true. Let's have a look at what you were saying 15 years ago.
This allows me to work anywhere on the planet, anywhere I choose. I couldn't live without it, but it's far from ideal. What I would like is technology like this wristwatch. In fact, technology like this office you wear, so that I get up in the morning and I just put on my office and wherever I am, I can work. All of this functionality, the mobile phone, the dictaphone, the pager, the desktop computer, this laptop, battery, is all inside that little box that I can now wear.
Peter had more or less predicted the iPhone, but the technology just wasn't quite there.
Whilst I'm wearing that computer on my wrist, what you can't see is there was an umbilical cable that went up my shirt sleeve, down my back and out my trouser leg to a computer that was as big as this room. Now all of that computing power is on your iPod. That's been the scale of the change. So it was a bit of a leap of faith all those years ago to say it will shrink down that small, but it really did.
The idea of booking a plane ticket while sitting in a taxi seemed wild then.
You see, those displays are actually real now. You can actually get flexible displays.
So
And
again,
that application is real now. You can actually do that.
around 100 predictions he made for the year 2020 have already come true, but not all of them.
Can you imagine a society in the year 2000 and beyond managed by people sat 2 sword lengths apart in a chamber in Westminster? Can you imagine us actually taking a piece of paper and drawing a black cross in a box and putting it into a slot and then laboriously having it counted every few years?
Sorry, Peter, you were wrong about that one. The problem is, just because things are possible, it doesn't mean we start to use them.
I had a series of mobile phones, and one of them was about 3 or 4 times bigger than this, and people would laugh at you. And even with this mobile phone, people would stare. And no one walked around with a little piece of plastic in their ear with a flashing light on it, because it would have been stupid. Now what do we have today? We have people walking around with plastic stuck in their ear, listening to their mobile phone, talking into mid-air, nobody in front of them, being very expressive, listening to their iPods, and everybody's using a mobile phone, and it's the norm. So it's a question of becoming socially acceptable, and the technology is now a badge. If you've not got a music player, it's not cool. If you've not got the latest, smallest mobile phone, then you're not cool. And that acceptability is something that takes a while.
Some things never get accepted. Peter has a large collection of gadgets, some of which made it, some of which didn't.
So this is a really good example of reduction in size and reduction in price. So 14 years ago, this was one of the world's first miniature cameras, something that you've now got in just about every mobile phone on the planet. 14 years ago, this was £5,000. Now it's less than £1. This was interesting. Again, same era. The notion was you would write on a piece of paper, it would store all the information, you plug it into your computer and upload it. It's never taken off because people go straight into their computer. And personally, I prefer to type straight in rather than write. So, good idea, but society just didn't adopt it. So you can predict the technology with great accuracy, but what you can't predict is, one, what people will do with it, and two, what they will object to, and how fast society will actually change.
Nevertheless, Peter has a pretty good track record, so what next? He believes caring for people and saving resources are the main challenges now.
Today, we have the very first laboratories on a chip. So these are devices that you could envisage being in your local doctor's surgery, where he would take a blood sample and within 10 minutes have a full diagnosis of your body state. So instead of this sample going off to some laboratory and coming back with the results a couple of weeks later, it comes back in 10 minutes. That's going to revolutionize the way we look after people. At the other end of the scale, we're able to actually print materials today. And in 14 years, we might expect this kitchen to have a 3D printer. So I should be able to take something like this coffee cup and replicate it in a plastic or in a metal right there on this counter with a printer that looks pretty much like my printer I've got in my office for paper.
That is extraordinary, isn't it?
I think it's extraordinary. I think it's exciting because it's going to change the nature of the way we distribute goods and the way we manufacture.
Manufacturing your own kitchen utensils sounds far-fetched, but take a look at this. In fact, you can already buy 3D copiers. They work like a normal printer, but build up layers one by one.
When ready, click 3D Print and watch your 3D model emerge from the bottom up, one cross-section at a time. Advanced inkjet technology builds models 5 to 10 times faster than any other rapid prototype systems. It's just like any other printer in your office.
You can even make your own desktop manufacturing system for a few £100s and then use it to make another one if you want. If Peter's right, this could change the world, but as we're such an unpredictable lot, who knows? It might never catch on.